Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of GameSpark. Today is episode 12, and I have another awesome guest here for all of you guys. So if you could go ahead and introduce yourself, please, that would be awesome.
All right, my name is Jason Hamadou. I was actually going to start off, this is Kermit the Frog.
Fantastic.
My name is Jason. Twitch.tv/LowercaseJ.
I love that name, by the way. LowercaseJ is great. I love it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Actually got that working at Medieval Times. We had two Jasons working there, and he was taller, so he was uppercase, I was lowercase, and together we were J and a half. So.
Jay is a member of my Twitch community and is lovely, and he also streams. He just streams late, and I'm never awake because I have children and I'm tired and I go to bed early. So, but yes, he streams, and he is a lovely, lovely addition to my little community, and I'm very grateful to hear his stories and his gaming memories. So let's get started with my first question. My first question for you is, what is your earliest gaming memory?
Earliest gaming memory is going to be, I was about 4 or 5 years old, living in Winnemucca, Nevada, and we would play on our neighbors across the street there, Atari. So it was, Pac Man, Space Invaders, Centipede, all that stuff. So,
man, I don't even think you know what? I think we did have an Atari in a box somewhere. I don't think I ever have actually seen an Atari in action. So my second question for you is, what is your spark game? The game that really got you into gaming, that you just knew it was for you?
Honestly, it's probably going to be old school Super Mario Brothers.
Okay, on NES.
On the original NES. Although, being the little brother, I always had to play Luigi, so.
Okay, you know what? No. It's funny that you say that, because that just unlocked a core memory for me, because I was always Luigi, because I'm the younger sibling. How many siblings do you have?
Just one brother.
Oh, okay. All right, but you were always Luigi.
Just one older brother.
Okay.
And then quite a few cousins in the area, because I grew up in a small town. Mm-hmm. So we just had lots of cousins that lived in the area, so we'd always go over to their house, and, before we got a Nintendo, we'd just play on theirs. And then one Christmas, parents surprised us with one. And
oh, you got an 8-bit Christmas.
We got that weird triple NES or Super Mario Brothers that had Duck Hunt, and we had the Power Pad with...
the Power Pad. Oh my gosh, I remember that. What did you love about Super Mario Brothers?
Honestly, I don't even know what drew me in. It was just, it was just something different. Before we had that, all we had were board games, and it was just, okay, move 4 spots this way and draw a card. And, this one is just, I think the excitement, sometimes the frustration. The amount of times I've fallen down a hole going, I swear I pushed B.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So many times. But I pushed it. Mario is also not easy. Mario is...
It's a challenge.
It is. It's a challenge.
I look back at a lot of the games I grew up with and thinking, wow, that is way harder than what I'm playing now.
Yes. I feel the same way.
And the fact that there was only one setting, you couldn't change it to easy mode.
No.
It was either survive or die.
Yes, it was. Taught us all from a young age. Oh my gosh, I remember playing Super Mario Brothers. I actually don't know if I've ever beaten the game myself, which actually brings me to my next question, which is, do you remember what is the first game you played and beat all by yourself?
Not exactly all by myself, but it was probably Super Mario Brothers 3.
That was a good one. I love Super Mario 3. That's the ding a ding 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 ding, right? That's where that came from.
Yep. Yep.
Yes. That is such a good one. Beating Super Mario Brothers 3, that's impressive, because that is also a really challenging game.
Yes.
So, do you remember how old you were?
No. I think when we had and that was one that we actually would play over at our cousin's house, and we would actually take turns, like, playing through it, because no, I still got all my lives, or I still got 2 more lives.
Yes. It's not your turn
So,
yet. It's not your turn yet. So did
no.
you, so did
So
you,
I'd probably be about 10, maybe like 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there.
yeah. Did you own it, or
Yeah.
was it your cousin's?
That was one that our cousins had. We didn't. Unfortunately, we weren't the most well off growing up. We
Yeah.
could get the games, or we could get the systems, but we would go to our local video store and rent all the different games.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
So.
man, I remember those days. We had to do that a lot as well. All right, so my next question for you is, what 3 games have impacted you the most?
So one of the first ones is probably going to be Tecmo Bowl, or the Tecmo Bowl series.
I have never heard of this in my life.
Yeah. So
Wait.
Nintendo
Techno or Tecmo?
Tecmo.
Tecmo.
Yeah, TECMO.
Tell me about it.
So for a while, the video game companies like Nintendo could not get licensed to actual NFL teams.
Okay.
They could use player names, but they couldn't use actual teams. So Tecmo Bowl, they had an easy way to break the game. They had Bo Jackson in it, and yeah, it's just a fun little football game. I did not even realize this until recently, but I would always play as Chicago.
And aren't you?
And now I live here.
The future.
So, yeah.
Tecmo Bowl.
And they had a couple of them. My favorite ones were 1 and 3, because 3 is the first football game that I know of that you could create your own player.
Okay, that's cool.
And put them on your favorite teams. And so there's that one. There's another one. It's a different football game, but it was called Mutant League Football, and it was for the Sega Genesis.
Hey, wait. I'm so excited to hear about this.
Yeah. So, different teams there was a robot team, there was a zombie team, there was like an ogre team.
I'm imagining like pet
different team
fish being flushed down the toilet into sewers, like turning into mutants and stuffed into football uniforms.
Kinda. Yeah, there's just different teams of different monsters.
Okay.
They actually came out with a cartoon for it in like the mid-90s. I think it only ever had 1 season, but yeah, it was...
What was it called?
I was in like Mutant League, because they also had a hockey game.
Okay. Wait a minute. Is this your number 2 game that has impacted you the most, or is this just kind of in tandem with Tecmo Bowl?
No, this is number 2.
Okay.
But
I
yeah,
love that so much.
So it was super fun. There were different traps you could use. So when you're playing playing your friends, you could booby trap the football, and when you hike the ball, your team would actually just jump out of the way, and the opposing team would jump on the ball, and it would just blow up. Just, yeah.
I imagine that probably spoke to a lot of little gamers.
It was so much fun. The reason for that one, honestly, I grew up. I've mentioned this in your stream. I was bullied a lot as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, one of my biggest bullies was also my older brother.
Yeah.
But the few occasions that we would actually sit down and play video games together or something like that is like those were some of the few times until high school that he didn't bully me. So it's some of the few times that we actually were able to sit there and bond and actually have fun together.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was it's kind of, besides the fun gameplay, it was just the bonding time with my brother.
Yeah.
That I always wanted growing up, but again, like I said, but it was nice. He was the only one that was allowed to bully me. Anybody else that did, he would beat him up.
That's okay. I mean, on one hand, like that's great, but on the other, it's like, well, oh, I'm sorry that
Yeah.
happened to you. My older brother was bullied as well.
Once we got into about 8th grade or so, he kind of seemed to mature a lot more, and we just started getting along a lot better. From 8th grade on, we actually just, grew, closer together.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that happened.
Number 3 is probably going to be like some of the Final Fantasy series.
Okay.
I never got a chance to play 7, so I'm actually really enjoying watching your playthrough of which one is it? Rebirth?
Yes. I just had a really
so
rough go of it today.
Yeah.
I'm still mad about it.
So,
it can't all be
yeah,
perfect. It can't all be perfect. Not.
No,
Which Final Fantasy games have you played?
My favorite ones that I've actually played, and I've beaten one of them. I've almost beaten the other two, but it's the very first one, so Final Fantasy 1.
Okay.
And then 8 and 10.
Okay, I've heard a lot of good things about 10. A lot of people love 10. They say it'll make me cry.
Yeah, you said you've got it on your list, so
Yep.
yeah.
It's on my list.
I don't want to. That is actually, have any games made you cry? That is one of them.
Okay, Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
You are not alone. I've heard multiple people say that now.
All
right.
Yeah. So.
All right. Gotta get to playing that one. I really love when people bring up games that have impacted them that I have never heard of before. And I get to listen to, I get to learn about these new games because I have never heard of, what was it, Mutant League? And I've never heard of Tecmo
Bowl, yeah.
Tecmo Bowl. I've never heard of either of those. So you can bet I'm going to be looking those up later to scope them out.
Just listening to that time of year again, and it's not even close to July, and people are lighting off fireworks.
Are you serious?
I'm just looking at, they're just celebrating my birthday without me.
Yes, that's what it is. Today is Jay's birthday. That's what they're doing. They are celebrating. They're celebrating your birthday. It's all about you. It's all about you. Today's your day. Speaking of being impacted, the question is technically, have any games made you cry? But you already answered that.
Yep, Final Fantasy X. And honestly, I haven't finished. I've started so many different playthroughs with friends on Baldur's Gate 3. But yeah, it's another one of those where it's you get really attached to certain characters. So yeah, same thing with Final Fantasy. Yeah, you get attached to some of these characters, and I know you did with was it Tears of the Kingdom. You get so attached to Link and in Final Fantasy to Titus and some of the other characters that it's hard to see him go.
Yes,
it's hard to see the game end.
Yes, there is a lot of grief that comes from finishing, and for all the people that say things like it's just a video game, everybody has experienced mourning over either a good movie or a good book or whatever, and I don't think a game is any different. So you become very emotionally invested.
And then I've got another one that it still makes me sad. It's not for the same reasons, but I'm also the nerd in me. I'm also grew up a pro wrestling fan. And one of the games that I had was first game I ever bought with my own money.
Oh, nice.
WWF Smackdown, Here Comes the Pain. And one of my first, tag team partners was my cousin. It was one of my cousins. And unfortunately, this was several years ago, he actually passed away in a car accident. It's about probably about 10 years ago or so. It was actually, he was on his way back from, he was at a little event in Moab, Utah. And he was on his way heading home. He called me, and the call dropped. I just figured, he'll call me when he gets home. And I got woke up the next day, which also happened to be Easter Sunday, with the news that he had passed away.
Oh my
So as far as
gosh.
I know, So as far as I know, I was the last person to talk to him. But he was always like one of my, he's always one of my partners when we go in there, and you know, just had so much fun.
Yeah.
So that's another one that actually has kind of made me cry, because it's like I remember him as my partner in crime, so to speak, and he was his sister is my twin cousin, and he was like a little brother to me. So
I'm so sorry
yeah,
for that loss.
yeah. So
That doesn't surprise me that that game makes you sad, especially with all those
yeah,
memories wrapped up in it.
so
I'm sorry for your loss. I am grateful that you
thank you.
have those like I'm grateful that you have that. Do you own that game?
Not anymore. Yeah, that's the thing, is hard for me to play it after that. So
Yeah, I imagine.
I've gotten subsequent generations of the game. So like yeah, they do different wrestling games every year. So I've been getting the new ones. I just haven't got 2K24 for this year.
Okay. That's always such an interesting question, the one about games making you cry, because
Hmm.
I originally was like, okay, what games have made you cry because the storylines are sad or whatever, but everybody has really opened my eyes to all the different ways games can make you
Yeah.
cry, whether it's happiness or it's joy or
Hmm.
it's anger or whatever. And I love hearing about those connections, like you said, bonding with your brother, and then this whole thing with like your cousin and everything. I think that's really, really special, and I'm grateful that you had.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had that. I'm really, really glad you had that.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Any other games that have made you cry?
A couple that it's not so much cry, but get a little choked up.
Yeah,
But
a little
there's a lot
misty.
of those. If we had a week, I don't think I could remember most of them that have made me.
It's probably true. There are
Yeah.
some, I mean, there are some that are like that. There are some that you get just a little choked up, and then there are some, like,
Hmm.
in my case, Tears of the Kingdom, which made me like full blown, like sob, 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 sob. I actually,
There's some that have made me just full blown ugly cry.
yeah. My next question for you is, what are your favorite video games? And I know that that's kind of like, we could go on and talk about your favorite video games forever and ever and ever,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know, think of some of your top favorite video games.
So I am gonna go with like Final Fantasy X. Of course, like I said, the just the story, getting so attached to everyone. I never played the sequel 10-2.
Okay.
I've always loved the Final Fantasy, like the old school turn-based games, because it gave me a chance to think
Yes.
about what I wanted to do. So I love turn-based games. Once they changed the system over to where it was live combat, that was
Okay, so wait,
yeah.
what is 10? Is it turn-based or is it
10
real
is
time?
turn-based. The sequel 10-2 is like real time.
Okay.
Oddly enough, the old school X-Men arcade game.
Okay.
Yeah. The first arcade game I ever beat.
Dude, I didn't even know it
Another
was
cousin.
possible to beat an arcade game. Those games are so hard. Not to mention you're
It was
forking
really
money into
expensive.
it. Yeah, I was gonna say, my
It was
gosh.
really expensive.
Holy moly.
Yeah. But luckily, again, another cousin, their family actually owned the local video store. So, we would be able to go in and basically just, a lot of times get free games. Just go in and
Okay.
get free games.
Nice. Okay, that is
Yeah.
helpful when you're trying to
Yeah.
beat an arcade game.
Final Fantasy, X-Men, Mutant League Football.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, again, just the memories of bonding with my brother.
Yep.
And then right now, I'm also going to go with there's DC Universe Online that I stream every once in a while. It's the first and only game I have ever been able to beta test. I was one of the beta testers on the PS3.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So, yeah.
How
So
did you
that was a fun experience.
How did you land that gig?
honestly, for that one, it was kind of easy. All you had to do was pre-order it, and they would send you like a beta test code.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, so that was fun. I've got people that have come into my stream playing DC, and they're, oh yeah, I've been playing the game for 5 years, and I'm just thinking, I beta tested it. I played it before it was even out.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was
I did not know
fun.
that. That's cool.
And then the other ones, it's kind of a toss-up between Skyrim and, again, right now for me, Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
I'm a huge D&D nerd, so.
I've never played Skyrim and I've never played Baldur's Gate. But
Yeah.
Listen, I've heard they're supposed to be amazing. So
Yeah. And a lot of stuff for me too, besides that, is I love the voice acting.
Oh,
Trying to
interesting.
become a voice actor myself. I love listening to the voice acting. It's fun for me to actually sit there and be like, oh, I recognize this voice.
Yeah.
Skyrim, there are a lot of voices that are done by Jim Cummings.
Really?
And
Winnie the Pooh?
And if people don't know, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, yeah, Darkwing Duck.
Oh, my childhood.
Yeah.
Any other favorite games? I mean, I know the list is extensive, I'm sure.
Again, yeah, the list is really long, and I don't know if we would have like that much time.
Okay. That is okay. That is fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that I have watched that I haven't played that I've really enjoyed.
Okay.
Honestly, like I said, growing up, I never got into like the Metroid games. The first Metroid game I've ever really even watched all the way through was your stream.
Of which one? I've streamed 3 Metroid games.
What was the last one? Metroid Prime? Was it the
Remastered?
Oh,
yeah.
That's where I started watching your streams, honestly.
Oh, nice. I love throwbacks to like what brought when people came in and kind of remembering. Dude, Metroid is prime. I mean, Metroid Prime. Yeah. Metroid's great. Yeah. Metroid's great, so I highly recommend it. My last question for you tonight is, why do you like playing video games?
All right. Yeah, that one, like I said, it goes back to one, just the memories of bonding with my brother. And even now, I am in a completely different time zone than pretty much all of my family and friends. So, being able to actually spend time with, like I said, my twin cousin, my best friend Dave from 6th grade.
Okay, when you say twin cousin, what does that mean?
She is 8 hours older than me.
Got it. I got it. I was like, my brain does not understand that. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. We were born actually love that.
Yeah, the exact same day. She's just 8 hours older than me.
Happy birthday to your cousin too today.
Like I said, I'm able to connect with them and be able to spend time with those that it keeps us close. Other than that, I wasn't still not extremely athletic. Had some health issues in high school, but our football coach, because they saw what I could do with my legs in the weight room, wanted me to be a kicker on the football team. But I was suffering from some mental health issues, and I just didn't want to. I just didn't have the desire to do it.
Yeah. So
sports games, I'm actually able to get in there and create me and live out those, those sports, goals and not fantasies, but, be able to see myself doing some of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, it wasn't, it was out of your control, but I'm glad you have a way to kind of circumvent and kind of, vicariously.
Yeah. And again, grew up a huge pro wrestling fan and always looked up to my brother. And I always thought, it would be cool if one day we grew up and, what if we both got into, pro wrestling and we became like the world tag team champions together. And that's a way for me to do that.
Yeah.
Is, Same like my cousin Tim. It's a way for me to actually keep him going. I can create him in these newer video games, and so yeah, being able to live out these what if scenarios. Grew up a big fantasy fan, so like this is Dungeons and Dragons, and one of my favorite shows growing up was Highlander, the TV series, where sword fighting, and so games like Skyrim, and I can go in there and I can be this cool fireball launching wizard, or this cool little stealth rogue, or the big barbarian, and but to actually go in there and be able to do some of this stuff that I'm like I actually have a significant like sword and knife collection, so I collect replica swords, and I actually make knives. So and I started learning like some sword fighting stuff with my friends in like 6th or 7th grade, the sword play and the martial arts, and I'm a purple belt in Taekwondo. I've done martial arts most of my adult life, and it's knowing the martial arts that I do. I've done jiu-jitsu, I've done submission wrestling, I've done a lot of these combat sports where it's just like I can appreciate the artistry of it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And that's again another thing with the video games, is just being able to appreciate the artistry. Like some games, like to go from Pong with the 2 little lines and the ball going, just the dot going back and forth, to just the absolutely stunning visuals of modern games, is grew up from Pac Man to what we've got now. I grew up from the Atari to the PlayStation 5, and it's
mind-boggling, and it's only getting better. That's
and then
really cool.
Of course, again for me, the voices.
Yeah.
So like there's a big one for me, that there's a character in Skyrim named Parthenax, dragon, deep booming voice.
Whoa.
Done by It's a Me, Mario.
What?
The exact same voice.
How?
So to hear like that kind of range and find out, wait, huh?
What?
Ha. So for me, like I said, in video games, the voiceover, like I love just hearing the performance. And I think as gamers, that's something we kind of, especially a little bit older gamers, we grew up when there was not even any dialogue in the game, and it was just run through, do this, jump on this thing.
Yep. We've lived through a lot.
To where they eventually started to develop it into storylines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers, when you get to the end of a level, sorry Mario, but the princess isn't here. And that's the extent of the dialogue.
Yeah, that's it.
To the game.
That's it.
And then if there's certain games that the character doesn't have their own dialogue, or have their own voice, I am happy to make my own.
Make one. Well, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me and chat about games.
Thank you for asking me. This was awesome.
I'm so happy, and it was on your birthday. Best ever.